Welcome to TWitWoW, the best wrestling podcast made for wrestling fans, by wrestling fans, on the web today. I'm John. That's my cohort and commentary Ashton. And this is our NXT review. And I gotta say, this is a decent episode of NXT. Nothing really like mind-blowing, like, oh my god, NXT is the best program WWE has, which that's still true. But this is just an episode where it's like, you know what? There were some solid matches, one really interesting segment, some great teasers for future weeks. But, you know, mainly, this is satisfying, and that's pretty much all there is to say about it. Ashton, what do you think of tonight's episode of NXT?
No, yeah, I'm pretty much along the same lines as you. I was pretty underwhelmed with most of NXT. Like, the thing is, there wasn't anything really horrible on the show, except for one match outcome, which I think you and I would definitely agree on. And there were some good things about the show. I just feel like we're kind of stuck in a holding pattern. I'm just waiting for us to kind of ramp things up for TakeOver Chicago 2.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I feel like this show, and we've even said that the way TakeOver Chicago is kind of shaping up, it almost seems like kind of like a building block for a takeover, like for Brooklyn. What would it be, 4?
Yeah.
This year, and that's really what it seems to be building towards. But that said, some decent stuff on here, and even that one match that you're referring to, I actually have a take on it that might surprise some people. So I'm looking forward to talking about that. But with that said, let's get right.
We're going to end up arguing about that if you have anything positive to say about it, because I am pissed about it.
Oh, really? Okay. Well, then we're going to argue then. I don't really like arguing with your face, but, you know, it's what I have to do, I guess, for my position. So with that said, let's get into our first segment, Heat of the Night. And I've got no heats of the night tonight, honestly. Again, a middle of the road show, nothing really offensive. Just waiting to get to TakeOver, and then honestly beyond that, Brooklyn 4. So what about you? Any heats of the night tonight?
It's really hard not to. Oh God. Is it a heat of the night? Is it a nitpick? Is it even worth talking about right now?
I get, if you're really like bemoaning it, you might as well purge
Well,
it
the
now.
reason I'm bemoaning it is because I feel like it's like too petty to even make worthy of a heat of the night. So I'm just going to pass.
Okay, fair enough. Well, you're going to mention the petty thing later, at least?
Yes.
Okay, fair enough. So let us get right into our NXT review. And how do we open this baby up, partner?
We open this baby up with a match, our first match of the night, and not our best match of the night, but probably the second best match of the night. Heavy Machinery versus TM61. And before we talk about anything else regarding this match, I just want to say, Otis Dozovic is a national treasure.
He's adorable.
He's amazing.
Anybody that like looks like he does, that does a freaking worm into an elbow drop, is okay in my book.
It's the Caterpillar, which is amazing because the Caterpillar is a Heavy Machinery brand.
That's awesome. Yeah, I enjoyed this match. You know, I got to be truthful with you, bro. Now, see, this is like when you talk about pettiness and like things like that maybe boil down to, I don't like it because it's just like my taste and really nothing else. I don't know if I'm really feeling TM61 as heels, which is funny because more often than not, I love when like a person turns heel and experiments with that side. But TM61 to me just have this likability. Like I can't root against them, you know?
You know what, though? I don't know if that's intended, but I do feel like I wouldn't even necessarily say, oh, it's their heels, because they still wrestle a fair match up until the finish, you know? Like, they don't resort to any, like, dirty tactics. They don't, like, go after the eyes or fish hook or do low blows or anything like that. The only thing that they do that's even mildly heelish is feet on the ropes to win matches. And really then even, like, I think I wouldn't call them heel TM61. I would call them cheeky TM61, because that's what they come off as to me. These cheeky buggers wrestling solid matches with opponents, and then when they're sick of putting up with their shit, they're like, all right, we're going to win now, and they just put their feet on the ropes and pick up the win.
Do you think there's a narrative going on here? Because, I mean, I won't even debate
I think the narrative is these guys are extremely talented, and they know that, but they don't get enough credit, so they decided to start putting together wins the best way, most efficient way they knew how.
Well, see, what I was getting ready to ask you was, 'cause I'm not even going to like debate your retort at present, because I don't even really know how I would address that, because it does seem like, I mean, the end of the match is the most critical, because that's where the winner and the losers decided, and that's when they get, you know, a bit cheaty. But you know, do you think the story is going to progress, whereas the challenges kind of mount and the quality of challenge, you know, increases, that the cheating is going to become more pervasive? So maybe here it's foot on the ropes, but maybe in the next match it's like a low blow and stuff like that. Do you think it's going to like up the ante, or do you think these guys, you know, it really is just going to be like, oh, feet on the ropes, or oh, you know, maybe shield and a rep, or just like, oh, one thing every match, but then like 98% of the match is just totally clean and on the up and up?
I don't know. It's hard to say because we're so early into the sort of story right now. So, all I will say is that I'm kind of with you in the sense that I just love them even more while they're doing this. So, if the intended effect was to get people to hate them, you're failing miserable at that.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. Like, to me, they do have a natural likability to them. So it's like when they do this, it's like, I'm kind of feeling a disconnect. You know, I saw somebody, who was it? Hypothesis, saying Australian Los Guerreros. You know, if they would try and go for a Los Guerreros vibe, which I don't even know, I actually think they could pull it off because they do seem charismatic together. But you know, you'd really have to commit to it, I think, if you were to put that off. And here, I'm not saying that they're not committing, because Shane and Nick are so talented. It's just like you said, it's only like feet on the ropes right now and stuff like that. Where it develops in the coming weeks and months is anybody's guess. But for now, I'm just like, it's all right. And honestly, as a TM61 fan, I'm just happy that they're winning. I'm just happy that they're, you know, getting momentum, because I do think they're one of the better teams the division has. And this was a fun match. I think they were a great foil for Heavy Machinery. I think they made them look great, because I think you need those opponents for them, given that they are very limited in their offense, that can really sell it and make these guys look like monsters, you know? So TM61, I feel like, was great at that. Otis continues to just really exude a lot of charisma, and I think it's slowly trickling down to Tucker Knight. I think Tucker Knight's like learning a little bit to kind of like let his hair down, have some fun in there. But yeah, Otis is definitely the life of the party. And TM61 get the win. And that's 2 straight wins since becoming, to use your term, a bit cheekier in their offense and their goings on. So good job, TM61.
Yeah. All right. So after the match, we get a Bianca Belair promo package, and it is. I made sure to choose my wording wisely there, because I almost put video package, but it really is a promo package, because she's cutting a promo intertwined with video footage of her dominating people. So it's her talking herself up. And the thing is, like, she doesn't even say, I'm amazing, you should love me. She's like reciting questions that people are asking, like, why does Bianca have the brightest future in NXT? And then she's just giving these facial expressions that are like bliss level elastiface, that are amazing facial expressions that I guarantee you Asia is going to start using as GIFs in the Discord any second now.
Oh, dude, I love these things. I was thinking about Asia the entire time this is going. I'm like, that's a GIF. That's a GIF.
Exactly.
That's a meme.
Yeah.
And that's
so really all I have in my notes is that I think Bianca is very charismatic and has great facial expressions. And we also found out that we are going to be getting an inside look at her life next week. So she's getting the Becky Lynch treatment.
Dude, I got to tell you, man, I'm really, and of course me and Asia have bonded over it because obviously, but I'm really getting excited about Bianca Belair. I think they're grooming her for Shayna down the road. I really do. Like, I'm putting my chips down on that. And, you know, I've been vocal about that the last few weeks. The idea that they're giving her, like you said, the Becky Lynch treatment, the Roderick Strong treatment, TM61 was the last one to get this kind of treatment, is really exciting. Like, because if they're giving her that, then that really shows, like, yeah, they really are going all in when they say fastest rising star. It's not just something to make her look good. You know what I mean? Like, I think on some level they believe it and they want to make it happen. So getting an intimate look into her life, and it's funny because, like, again, maybe you can't even really use a heel with Bianca Belair, but I feel like the way she carries herself is more heelish. But, like, fans are gravitating.
Oh, no, there's no question. She is absolutely 100% a heel, yes.
And it's very interesting to me because I think she's the first heel to get one of these spotlights. And that's really interesting to me because normally you'd only associate that with baby faces. So I would expect the tone. I'll say right now, I know that this will probably be more appropriate for next week's review, but I'm just going to predict right now that the tone of these is going to be less sentimental and emotional and more braggadocious. Like, oh, yeah, I shattered my high school record. No big deal. You know, I'm Bianca Belair. It's what I do. You know, kind of thing. So I'm really looking forward to this. I'm so happy they're spotlighting her. And yeah, man, I'm telling you, whether it's, I don't think it's Brooklyn Ford because she's still a heel, but maybe even, the takeover before Mania, by that time, maybe she'll have such fanfare. She'll be ready for Shayna or whoever the champion is. Like, I just feel like they're on a collision course whenever that is. So,
and I think I've already been on record saying I think she gets called up before she gets an opportunity to win the title.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see who's right between the two of us. I see so much promise in a Shayna Bianca feud. So yeah, with that said, I'm excited for next week, but let's move on. What came after this?
All right, man. After this, we got another sort of video package, but this was more of a hype package. EC3 talking about how he had his third match, and he said towards the end about how, oh, if I can do this in 3, imagine what I can do in 4. So really just another thing being like, oh, hey, guys, EC3's here. He's a thing. You should like him or hate him or however they want us to feel about him because I don't even know anymore.
I feel like he says his lines, and he just comes off to me as that guy that thinks he's the coolest guy in the room, Like, hey, guys, I killed it, right? I totally killed it, right? And it's like, oh, my God, you're so awful. Because, yeah, he really is a douche nozzle. But, yeah, I guess we'll see him. What do you say? Like, next week, I guess, the third match you said? So that'll be EC3. Don't really care. Honestly, now that Andrade's on SmackDown, I gotta find that new NXT act to really be hyped the fuck up about. And I can tell you, it sure as shit ain't EC3. So we can move on. What came after this?
After this, we got. Hang on, just a second. Our second match of the night: Kyrie versus Lacey Evans.
All right, yeah.
Before we talk about this, I just want to say, I have in my notes here, there is like a Scott Pilgrim reference that I'm dying to use. Lacey Evans literally knocked the highlights out of Kyrie's hair.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
You could see there was, I think it was the pink one that she had, because she comes out with one pink and one blue highlight, like attachment, like the extensions going on. And Lacey did something that knocked the pink highlight out of Kyrie's hair.
Yeah. It's first of all, I love that I really have become that Kyrie fan because like Asia DM'd me. I saw like you replied to James that you hadn't heard from me like after the match ended, and like so everybody was thinking, oh my God, is John okay? I'm fine. It's funny because you and I had a conversation, right? Because we read part of the tapings and stuff, and we're like, okay, we're freaking out. It looks bad, but we've always got to see execution before we really judge anything. And the thing is, I get it. If this is going to be a feud, Kyrie can't win everything. In an ideal world, she would. But this is wrestling. That's not how that works. Nor is she Asuka, right? And I appreciate that she doesn't have an undefeated streak or any of this aura. She's a completely different character because I think more like small-minded people and more myopic people would be like, oh, the one Japanese superstar left, here comes the other one, and they're going to give her some more booking. I like that they really are distancing that. She's the pirate, Asuka's the empress. You got one that was really dominant, one that's done okay, honestly. Hasn't been as dominant as even I thought she would be. And here's the biggest thing, too, and I hate to say this because this is really like showing my smarky side, but like Lacey's finish, that big right hand that she calls a woman's right, which I still kind of chuckle at that. It's legit in the sense that like what do people like Al Snow stuff say about that, right? If you get punched in the face, it's one of the biggest things we do because you should be like knocked out or you should sell it more than what you do. And Kyrie was knocked the fuck out. So at least like a punch coming at you from that angle with all your momentum, it's a believable finish. I don't think it protected Kyrie too much. I would have appreciated maybe more of a cheaty finish. But at the same time, though, I also have to look at the counter argument. They are trying to build up Lacey to be credible, to be something. So, I get it. Am I happy about it as a Kyrie fan? No. But as somebody that's been watching wrestling for as many years as I have, I totally understand why they would try and get behind Lacey to really bulk up this division and get as many stars as possible. I don't know where Lacey's going to place in the hierarchy at the end of the day, but this win has certainly given her some mileage. So we'll see if they waste it or not. So I know you hated this, though. So why don't you give me your side of things?
Well, it's like I hated it not because I hate seeing Kyrie lose, but because I hate seeing Lacey Evans win. I can't fucking stand this gimmick.
And you know, like
And the thing is,
yeah.
like, if this exact same gimmick was on a female that I knew for a fact was legitimately talented in the ring and could bring great matches out of people, or even carried to a great match by someone better than her, I'd be fine with it. Like, if this exact gimmick was on Nikki Cross, I would love it. It would be amazing. But you take a gimmick like this, where it really does require a certain level of competency to execute well, and you put it on a woman who is a 28-year-old, basically rookie. Because let's face it, she's very green in the ring still. She's been wrestling for less than 4 full years now. And she's not one of those like prodigy types where she's picking up on it super quickly. She's already 28 years old. She's basically getting the Charlotte path because she debuted on NXT television like a year ago, and already she's getting wins like this over someone that won the Mae Young Classic and has been in women's championship matches. Like, I just don't get what they see in this particular performer.
I mean, I don't know, man, because I honestly feel like, I don't know if a repackaging would help this.
And you know what? I shouldn't say I don't get what they see, because I know what they see, and I fucking hate that that's the basis of her push. It's the look. It's the goddamn look again. It's the tall, blonde, fake boobs, white woman. It's literally a repeat of the same story we've been bullshitting about for the last, like, I don't know, 3 decades, if you would really want to go that far.
You know what the shame of it is, too, is, like, I actually like the idea of the gimmick, right? Like, one of these pinup strong...
No, that's what I'm saying, though. The gimmick itself isn't the problem. It's the performer.
Right. And I don't know, man. I hope that Lacey Evans can, like, improve, because I didn't even think this was a bad match, to be fair. But then again, like, I feel like Kyrie was the big reason for that.
Because yeah, exactly. Because Kyrie sold the shit out of everything Lacey did. And when she was on offense, she looked like she was the most desperate to win she's ever been in her life, and she still lost.
Yeah. It's rough. You know, I'm trying to be understanding of it. I mean, Paul just straight up said I should hand in my fan card. I will not do that. I'm trying to be understanding of this because, again, realistically, I know Kyrie can't win everything, and they are in a program together. So I'm not even necessarily saying, like, it's good to push Lacey Evans. I'm just being pragmatic about the fact that these two are in a feud. And unless you wanted this to be a one-sided feud, which you can tell that WWE does not want it to be a one-sided feud with Lacey, because, again, like you said, even if it is for the most superficial reasons they like her, then you gotta, just accept that a loss is gonna come. I hope Kyrie gets her win back and we put this to bed, because I feel like that would be Kyrie's beaten Lacey once, Lacey's now beaten Kyrie once. I hope there's a rubber match down the road and then Kyrie wins that. But, I think they just want to give Lacey that credibility, because honestly, I don't even really see her moving that high up the card. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe we're looking at a future NXT Women's Champion a bit down the road. God help us all. But, right now it's very touch and go with me. I don't know, man. I just credit Kyrie for making Lacey look as great as she did, especially that right hand again, because Kyrie was out and she sold it as such. And just the screams, everything, like, that Lacey was really a challenge for her. Like, she made Lacey feel like a challenge. And this is a woman that's been in the ring with Shayna freaking Baszler, right? Yeah. So kudos to Kyrie for that. But Lacey gets the win. No idea where either of these women go from here with Shayna,
that's my big thing too, is a lot of the people that I've been seeing justify this decision, the decision to have Lacey, start getting wins in general.
Right.
This win over Kyrie. The justification that I'm seeing is, they need to build up their heels in the women's division. Well, first of all, no, they don't, because their champion right now is an amazing heel that is going to probably hold the title for a little while. But second of all, even if they did need to build up heels in the women's division, find talented women to use to do that with. Don't use random, generic, tall, blonde, white women just because you like their aesthetic. Use women that can actually go in the ring. Give these amazing gimmicks like what you gave to Lacey Evans to talented women. Match it up. Take good gimmick plus good performer equals good character, good wrestler, good, bringing money and all that good stuff. Why can't you do that? Why do they have to say good gimmick? Oh, let's give that to someone that can't actually do anything in the ring. I don't get it, man. That pisses me off.
I haven't heard you this exasperated in a long time,
That's
dude.
because it just doesn't make sense to me. Like, they do this all the damn time. They did it with Dana fucking Brooke. They gave her an amazing theme song and an amazing entrance and an amazing gimmick, but she just couldn't go in the ring. They're still doing it.
Yeah. I mean,
they use good gimmicks to try and cover up for a performer's weakness when they should give the good gimmicks to the performers that are already good, so you have the complete package.
yeah, I definitely agree. Like, see, because like not everybody, and I don't mean this as a slight. I do mean this as a compliment. Like, I love Lars Sullivan, right? But I think everybody would agree that Lars Sullivan is still incredibly green. But like, they book him in a way where like that's really covered up, and he looks fucking fantastic. I'm actually a bit excited to talk about that handicap match. I don't know if that was next or what. But like with Lacey Evans, like she doesn't have that luxury. Like she is expected to compete. She is expected to go the distance, right? And do stuff like that. And she's gonna be exposed. Or you're gonna see like tonight where at least she has an anchor, which is funny because the whole pirate princess thing, and Kyrie that's gonna make her look like $1 million and like this genuine threat. This was easily the biggest win of Lacey Evans' NXT run, because this, again, to your point, was somebody that won the inaugural Mae Young Classic and did so by beating Shayna Baszler, who's the current freaking champion. So again, I don't know how they're going to position either of these women in the aftermath of this win, or even if this feud is over, or what the hell is going to happen. But yeah, again, just looking at it from WWE's perspective and understanding it's a feud, I don't like it by any means, but I begrudgingly, understand it. And I also understand your frustration, though, dude. I mean, absolutely. I think you've got these gimmicks that are just so wonderful and have such potential, especially in the cultural moment that we're in, right? That Lacey would almost be like this throwback to a different type of woman, but it just like she's not able, I think, to milk it for all it's worth. I don't think she has that talent. It's funny you mentioned Nikki Cross because, like, yeah, I would love her doing this far more than what she's doing right now. So, yeah, that's really all I can say about it without being redundant. Unless you have anything else you want to add, we can move on.
Yeah, and fuck Nikki Cross's gimmick, too. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, Nikki Cross is a legitimately talented talker and wrestler and all that shit, but they say, oh, go out there and act crazy.
Crazy Nikki Cross, everybody.
Like,
oh, my God.
Please, somebody give these, like, switch gimmicks, for Christ's sake.
Yeah, please. That would be awesome. Yeah.
Let Lacey try and pretend that she's crazy for 2 shows before everyone cringes her out of the building and she gets let go of.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah.
Sorry. I'm just
it
just blows my mind that WWE is so incapable of realizing, hey, if you give a good performer a good gimmick that lets them get over, you're gonna make a lot more money than if you give all of the good performers shitty gimmicks and all of the shitty performers good gimmicks, because they're just fighting against each other at that point.
No, man, I'm loving the fire from you right now. I personally got tired of being like the ranty, angry, screaming one, and just to see you get all like passionate about something, that's really cool. So, and that's totally
where we are right now, though. Like, the people who are the good performer with the good gimmicks are the people that you and I care about.
Yeah.
Like, Cesaro is like arguably the best in-ring performer in the company right now, or at least top 5. But he doesn't have a gimmick, and the gimmick that he does have is, oh, I'm the tag team partner Sheamus, which doesn't fucking matter, so we can't get behind him. But if they would give him a gimmick and get behind him, we would give a shit, and we would like it, and it would make them money, but they're not, because they don't give a shit about making money. All they want to do is do what they want to do and entertain themselves, and they don't give a shit about anyone else, because they're going to keep getting paid $1 billion by companies like Fox, and it's just not going to matter what we think.
It really is a shame about Cesaro, because I love the whole like Bond aesthetic with him ripping off the suits. I'm like, why couldn't you just stick with that and just really push him as this bit? But again, like you said, fuck us, right? So what came after this, man?
Oh, me ending my life.
Hey, we've already got James doing that, all right? I am not going to have this mass of suicides, at least not without me at the head of it, so...
Hey man, I already signed up to be a part of the pack, okay?
I too am part of the pack, goddammit, all right? Nobody's doing anything without me. You are not leaving me with this.
Up next, though, we had a new interviewer whose name I did not catch. I don't think Nigel actually said her name. But she's got Oni Lorcan and Danny Burch, and they say that they think they've earned #1 contendership for the Undisputed Era's tag titles.
You know, I actually like Oni and Danny, but they've never really been too credible as a tag team. So them getting a title shot, which I'm assuming, like, if they're declaring it publicly, like, that's the intent creatively, just kind of shows how shallow the tag division seems to be, I guess. Like, goddamn. And again, I like these guys.
I don't think it's so much that the tag division is shallow in the sense that there aren't a lot of talented teams. I think it's more just that there's a lack of credible teams, because there are a lot of really good performers in the tag division, like TM6-1. And even if you want to just kind of ignore the credibility and just look at who we have, we do still have Heavy Machinery and Street Profits. And then, of course, we already have discussed how amazing War Raiders are, and I can't freaking wait for them to get their title shots. But it's not so much shallow as it is just a lack of credibility.
No, and that's really what I'm like kind of getting at here too, because I agree with you about the talent portion of it. And honestly, dude, the Birch and Lorcan getting a title shot, I think kind of substantiates our view that Chicago too is just kind of this this buffer, this kind of B thing before Brooklyn 4, because I could see War Raiders being the Brooklyn 4 challengers. If you want to make that show as big as fucking possible, you put Undisputed Era versus War Raiders for the tag titles on there. Full stop. And that is honestly where I could see them going, but you got to get through this first. Honestly, this was fine, but the Undisputed Era response after this was so much better. Dude, I fucking love these guys, but I want you to actually talk about this first, since, of course, Colt of Cole and stuff like that.
So, yeah, obviously Adam Cole's amazing, but that's not even really what I wanted to talk about here. What I really wanted to talk about here was Roderick Strong's mediocre promo skills really make me appreciate how much better Adam Cole and Kyle O'Reilly are on the mic.
Yeah, dude, Kyle O'Reilly, and this is coming from me. You know, as Johnny Scumbag, one of my favorite targets used to be Kyle O'Reilly, but he is charismatic as hell. Right? And that really is a positive, because here's the thing. And again, I mean this like, I feel like I give a lot of backhanded compliments, but I don't mean to, because I feel like a lot of people that look like Kyle O'Reilly and wrestle like he does are always known to be like the wet carrots personality wise. You know what I mean? Like I've always said, like Benoit wasn't much of a talker. Lord knows Brett wasn't much of a talker, but Kyle wrestles that legit technical style and striking as well. Like God knows, but he's so fucking funny. And like, I love too that he's not just charismatic verbally, but I mean, you've seen the video. Kyle O'Reilly is like a gift to the universe and stuff like that. I've watched it multiple times. His body language and how animated he can be and how expressive he can be. The dude's a fucking gem. And I look at the aesthetic of the Undisputed Era and how these guys carry themselves. And you know what I was thinking tonight while I'm listening to him talk? Because again, like, and again, this is me saying this, so I mean, this is a huge compliment. Worldwide Underground's in a little bit of trouble. Like, I hope Johnny and the gang can really do some fun shit this season, because I'm looking at the Undisputed Era tonight and I'm like, you know what? These guys are really fucking cool. Like, I want to run with these guys, and I wouldn't even blame them if they rejected me, because I am a fucking nerd. Like, you know, I like, can I join you? No. You know, but no, the way they carry themselves with the confidence and the legitimacy, like, this is a fucking faction. I get such Evolution vibes in the sense of like, yeah, you may hate these guys, but you know deep down you'd love to beat these guys. You'd love to win, and you'd love to ride with them. And I'm really digging. I think Undisputed Era, honestly, maybe one of the best things that WWE has produced in quite some time, especially on a faction level. You know, definitely since the Shield for sure. Like you said, Adam Cole was great. Oh, by the way, line of the whole segment, Kyle O'Reilly. Guys, can you believe Peter Dune? This is all his fault.
Yes! I even have Peter Dune in my notes. I love it.
Oh, my God, dude. Like you said, man, Kyle O'Reilly and Adam Cole. Hell, even Bobby Fish was not bad here. I love that he kind of
Fish has this weird air of regality to him.
He tough, dude. The word I was gonna use, there's like a haughtiness to him. Well, you shouldn't even think about that. That's like me being mindful of the poor. It's like Robert Pisces is actually becoming canon, and I love it. Oh my God, dude. The Undisputed Era is so perfect. And you know what? Even though Roderick probably is the worst talker of the group, he does seem like he's genuinely having fun, and that makes me smile too. I'm like, I think he's genuinely enjoying like being with his friends and doing this shit. So like, I'm just along for the ride, honestly. Like, Undisputed Era is one of those few gimmicks where when we get up here, I don't even really feel the need to like dissect and be critical. Like, I just have fun with it, man. This is a cool fucking group. Is there anything else you want to say about it before we move on?
I also love that Roddy said that he wants Daniel Birch.
Daniel Birch. Peter Dune, though, just had me dying, man. Oh my god.
It's the delivery too, because Kyle O'Reilly's delivery of that line was pretty freaking on point.
Yes. Yes. And I mean, Adam Cole, man, seemed very authoritative about letting everybody know it was a fluke. All right. Nothing else but that. And
well, that's why Roddy wants to fight Daniel Burch to prove that last week was no fluke.
And I mean, given that you kind of
or rather to prove that last week was a fluke, my bad.
Exactly. But no, I mean, given that Adam Cole said it was a fluke, and given that I'm 99% sure that you've kind of been pushing forward the message that Adam Cole was never wrong, then logic dictates that Adam Cole was correct and that it was indeed a fluke. Right. So, yeah, I guess.
But then logic also dictates that Roddy was just being a repetitive Nancy here.
Well, because he strives to be Adam Cole, and that striving will always lead to failure and incompleteness.
Every time. Every single time.
Every single time. I mean, even try.
You and I have been striving for that excellence for so long, and we just can't pull it off because we probably never will because it's still Adam Cole.
You know, I've stopped trying to strive, and I really expended my energy more to cutting down my crying time. I'm down to 5 minutes. So, like, you know, we're slowly
minutes
getting there.
Per hour?
I mean, I guess, you know, because every now and then it'll hit me like I'll be on high and then it'll be like, oh, I'm not Adam Cole though, shit. And then, like, you know, the tears will start flowing, but you know, it'll work out. Hell, even Dragon Man secretly loves Cole, but he's like, I have to hate him because it's the only way I can cope with him rejecting my advances. So, you know, Cole is just on everybody's mind, and there's not really much we can do about it. So, what came after this, man?
Yeah, after this, we got Kathy Kelly catching up with Johnny Gargano and his wife, Candice LeRae. You'd expect it to be Candice Gargano, but let's just roll with Candice LeRae.
Yeah.
And then basically once she gets to them, she asks them about the situation. Gargano just says, oh, yeah, I came to a decision, but I want to share it with them. And them obviously being the NXT universe. So,
yeah, and then he walks off. Short, sweet, and to the point. Great delivery by Gargano. Again, that natural likability just radiates unless you're an asshole like me, because I can't wait to talk about the main event segment. But what came after this?
Well, after this, we got our third match of the night, Lars Sullivan versus Ricochet and the Velveteen Dream in a handicap match.
Yeah, dude, this really was a fun match. I enjoyed it. Lars Sullivan looked so legit, eating all that offense and still like coming back for more. The entrance, they improved upon it. I noticed they did like this kind of blackout thing with him in the ring and just having that silhouette. I think Ronaldo even called it a sinister silhouette, which I liked. His alliteration game is always on point.
The lethal lariat.
Yeah. And again, this is a case where Lars is a green dude, but like the packaging and how he carries himself, and he's good enough, right? Where it's fine, especially when he's working with people the caliber of Ricochet and Velveteen Dream. And even the synergy between Ricochet and Velveteen Dream, like they had that one super kick spot where it's like, oh, Ricochet hits Lars, then Velveteen hits Lars, and then they both look at each other and they both hit Lars. Like, you know, some really great moments here. And again, I just love the presentation of Sullivan because it's like, wow, what can we do to stop this dude? I feel like they hit him with everything, and not long after he'd get up again, like ready to eat more offense or even dish some out. And I love too that the turning point didn't come the way that I thought it would, because I knew Velveteen Dream was going to do something to Ricochet because these two have been like at each other and stuff like that. But it was really just kind of an out of nowhere thing where it's like, oh man, we got him. And then he turns around, Death Valley Driver. I'm glad that it wasn't the typical, oh, come on, Ricochet, tag me, drop off. You know, this has actually had a bit more personality to it. Lars wins with a freak accident on Ricochet, who, of course, was protected because Dream DVD'd him and then abandoned him. And, yeah, Lars is staking his claim to the NXT Championship. So, I mean, Ashton, walk us through the match from your side of things. How did you feel about Lars' presentation, the team of Ricochet and Velveteen Dream? Just what did you think about all of it, man?
I mean, they're clearly building up Lars as like this indestructible force because it took so much effort just to get him off his feet for the first time in this match. I mean, Dream had to go in the world coming off the top rope with Polish hammers, and then they finally got the tag into Ricochet, and it was the double team, and they hit Lars with like a dozen strikes before they finally managed to actually take him down off his feet. So it was a rough attempt there, and then eventually they did sort of kind of get the upper hand, but right around the time that they were really rolling and with the upper hand, that was when Dream turned on Ricochet. So they did a really good job of portraying Lars as clearly the dominant force, while also not bitching out Dream and Ricochet, and really making it look like had the match kept going, they would have won eventually. But then at the same time, we got the Velveteen Dream, heel turn slash, heel reinforcement, because he was kind of technically a heel. And that protected, that, like you said, protected Ricochet, and it made Dream look like a dick. So I really think that this was the segment of the night. I won't call it the match of the night, but segment of the night for sure, because of everything that they managed to accomplish in such a short amount of time here.
Yeah, I love that point that you made. They really did walk that line perfectly of, we're going to make Lars look this way, but we're not going to compromise two really hot acts in order to do so. And I think they really did do that very well. I agree. So with that said, I think we just had our, actually, no, we had one other segment before our main event segment. So I guess we could talk about that very quickly.
Well, yeah, we first of all, we found out that next week we are going to be getting Shayna Baszler versus Dakota Kai for the NXT Women's Championship. And coming off the heels of that, we immediately get into a Kathy Kelly interview with Dakota Kai, who is excited for the opportunity, but of course, it being against Shayna, she's not too stoked about having to fight Shayna. But then Shayna actually shows up and literally just says, you don't have a chance, right? And Dakota very timidly just kind of retorts with, we'll see about that, before she leaves.
And then I love Shayna's expression, because it's like, what? She answered back to me? What is this? So yeah, that match is next week. Very curious how they're going to book that, how the presentation is going to come off. But I won't really say much more beyond that. I feel like it was a solid enough segment to get us to next week. Unless you have anything to add, we can get to the main event segment.
All right. Well, before we do that, they also did announce that we would be getting NXT champion Aleister Black on NXT TV next week live. So that'll be pretty fun. And then we get to our main event segment, which is Johnny Gargano with Candice LeRae with his neck brace on, coming out to explain his situation, give everyone an update. And really, before we even talk about what he said, I love that he was really like, I don't want to say he was full-blown slurring his words, because he really wasn't, but he was really speaking in a really like almost tedious, kind of slower, almost like a fragile way. Like it was, imagine like when somebody gets the air knocked out of them and then they try and explain what happened. That's kind of how Gargano was talking here. And I feel like he did a really good job of doing that as a way to kind of sell not only the physical damage, but also just the exhaustion that he's got to feel at this point from all this shit. And he really went out of his way to make it seem like he was legitimately considering retirement. And he really thought about it. And it seems like before they came out here, he and Candice had agreed, like, I'm going to come out and this is going to be a retirement speech. But he looks at Candice and he says, you know what? Yeah, it is worth it. Because he keeps on asking the question, is it worth it? Is it worth it? Is it worth it? Of course, the crowd, yes, yes, yes. But he's really thinking about it. He says, you know what? Yeah, it is worth it. Calls out Ciampa. Ciampa comes out and says, you know what? I'm going to come down to that ring. And if you're still standing where you are right now, when I get to the ring, I'm going to finish it. And the referees, because Candice, being the brilliant person that she is, as soon as Ciampa shows up, she runs off. But we're thinking like, oh, she's running away so she doesn't get hurt. But no, she ran off to get the officials to make sure that this doesn't devolve into physicality, which is brilliant on her part. Brilliant writing by the NXT writing team's part, really. And she brings the officials out and they keep Johnny away from Ciampa while Ciampa gets into the ring. So Johnny gets backed away out of the ring while Ciampa gets into the ring. And Gargano kind of makes his way up the ramp eventually, but then Ciampa instigates even further. And John, what was it that Ciampa said again?
Like just be a good little boy, I think, and listen to your wife, right? So he kind of emasculated Gargano to me. Right, and then Gargano just kind of snaps. He'd already snapped, but he re-snaps, and he heads over to the ring, and he gets up onto the apron, and Gargano, or Ciampa rather, knocks him off the apron and onto Candice and knocks her out. So we got
we got male on female violence by proxy in this segment, which I think everyone has, like, not everyone, but I know a lot of people have been really hoping that we would get Ciampa doing something physical to Candice. This is about as much as we're going to get, and I think that this is an effective substitute for actual male on female violence, given the current sort of environment that NXT and the WWE are in.
Following that, because I wanted you to give like your full thoughts on this segment. So, what else did you think about it, man? Just really the whole thing, like, you know.
I mean, my biggest observation was that I loved how, like, the way, just like I mentioned, the way that Gargano is talking in really, like, that's not how Gargano normally talks. He usually has much more conviction, but he was much more. I can't think of words, so I really do want to just say he was talking like he felt fragile at the moment. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they're very tentative, I think, kind of speech.
Tender, tentative, yeah, whatever word you want to use, but that
a little bit because he's thinking like, oh, is this the end? Is this too much for me to overcome? And he's like, screw it, let's do it.
Yeah, and then I love that Candice running away wasn't meaningless. It wasn't just her running and trying to hide from the big bad monster. It was her with a purpose, trying to make sure that this didn't devolve into violence, trying to make sure that Johnny didn't end up on a stretcher again, going to get the officials to prevent the fight from happening. That was awesome. And I loved Ciampa's quick little, like, hey man, just so you know, I'm coming down to the ring, and if you're still there, I'm gonna murder your face.
Yeah, I love that, dude. Ciampa's so good, dude. So yeah, I guess if you've given all your thoughts, do you just want to hear my thoughts on this now? I guess because I want to know yours. Yeah. First of all, I completely agree with you. I love that we pretty much had Ciampa abusing Candice by proxy. I want to reiterate my opinion that I don't think Johnny Gargano deserves to feel safe, and that really hasn't changed after tonight. What I will say, though, on a more serious note, I agree with your observation absolutely about Gargano's delivery. I feel like that was an excellent point by you. The point I would make as it relates to Johnny, because honestly, there's not really much to say about Ciampa. You know, Ciampa gonna Ciampa, and there really wasn't anything new coming out of this week. But what I like about this, though, is that this has really become a feud that's not only personal, but I think that's colored by, I don't know if you want to call it just pure hatred, which I think would be apt, or even obsession that Gargano has with really ending this with Tommaso, so much so that it's supervening and kind of harming his other relationships, primarily his relationship with his wife. Because now, if I'm NXT, and I hope they go this route, but I don't know if they will, because I feel like they really went out of their way to make this an option, right? You have Candice imploring Johnny, please don't, please don't, please listen to me. Johnny, when he took off the neck brace, and Candice like, Johnny, think about your career. You know, think about, like, she clearly was distressed by Johnny saying yes. This clearly isn't a wife supporting her husband no matter what. Like, she has a voice that's quite distinct from that of the audience. Does that make her a bad person? Of course not. It does make her, though. It does distinguish her from the NXT universe. And because Johnny wouldn't listen to the warnings and the weariness of Candice, and they had a collision, do I think Candice is going to hate Johnny over it or turn heel or any of the normal, like, cockamamie crap that comes out of my mouth? No, of course not. But do I think there's going to be tension where there could be a segment where Candice just looks at Johnny and says, this is destroying you, and I'm not going to be a party to you destroying yourself. And, like, she kind of removes herself on screen for a little bit until the feud's resolved. I could absolutely see that happening. And I think it becomes, one, the external struggle that Gargano has with Ciampa, but now we're also, I think, seeing kind of an internal struggle manifest with, like, can Gargano make peace with this obsession? And probably more pointedly, what does peace even look like to Johnny Gargano before it destroys everything he truly cares about? And I think that makes this a really brilliant narrative. The only thing that I kind of regret, and I love NXT to death, but aesthetically, I'd love to push this even further. And of course, I think about like a Lucha Underground cinematic or something or two. But yeah, for the things that NXT does and for the universe that we're in, this is as good as it gets, man. I love this. I thought this was great.
Yeah, we are not even halfway through the year yet, and I'm already going to tell you it is going to take a hell of a lot to unseat this as feud of the year for me.
Yeah, I completely agree with you, dude. This has really been masterful stuff. And yeah, again, I'm really curious what Lucha Underground Season 4 is going to be like, because between Undisputed Era and this feud, Like we used to talk about the Wednesday Night Wars, right? Well, you know, Lucha Underground's packing their artillery now. They're going to have a chance to return fire come June. I'll be very curious if anything they do can top the things that NXT has been doing on a multitude of fronts. So, yeah, man, solid episode of NXT. Again, nothing really too special to write home about. It was just kind of there. And with that said, I guess we can move on. I'm going to ask you, because I rushed it last time, I figure since we only have one segment before closing, should I get the plugs out of the way now, and then we do the high spots, low shots as a proper close to this review?
Yeah, go for it.
All right, guys. I just want to tell everybody before we decide who was the best and the worst of NXT tonight, go check out our social media. Our Twitter and the TwitWoW Facebook is all in the description box. Also, do please check out our Teespring. We have a variety of TwitWoW merchandise, everything from shirts to mugs to stickers. Check it all out there. And, of course, the big thing is the Patreon. I will go a bit at length about that. The biggest thing with the Patreon, of course, that we like to push is the Discord. That is $3 a month for membership. You can chat with all the most hardcore TwitWoW fans and Ashton and myself. We usually pal around together when Raw and SmackDown's on. I think it's a great freaking time. And if you donate $3 a month consistently for X amount of months, you accrue enough money, you can cash that in for a review or a live reaction, which you can also see the details on the Patreon. So please look at that link there. As far as the rest of this week, we have no commentaries tomorrow. I know we have a Best of Super Juniors Day 5 and 6 on Saturday, but do we have anything on Friday or Sunday, Ashton?
I think we have more BOSJ coverage on Sunday, but nothing until Saturday.
Exactly. And you know what, guys? In case you're like, wow, John really didn't seem confident relaying all that information. You're damn right I wasn't. I'm a peon. But you know who isn't a peon? My cohort in commentary, who his pinned tweet, again, urging you to check out our social media if you haven't, has the TwitWoW schedule on it. So if you're like, wow, John really didn't seem confident or whatever, you know, what should we do? It's all right there. You can keep your finger on the pulse of all things TwitWoW. And why wouldn't you? We're the best that ever did it, son. So yeah, those are all the plugs that I can think to give. Oh, and the one video coming up, which will be a week from tomorrow, Q&A, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Discord, best places to submit your questions. Everybody gets up to 4 questions per Q&A. You can divide them up however you want. They could be all 4 for both of us, all 4 for me, all 4 for Ashton, or some combination of the like. So yeah, get your questions in. That's where my pinned tweet comes in. My pinned tweet is primarily dedicated to receiving your Q&A questions. Again, you have 8 days left. Get on it, guys. The window's open just a crack now. So if you haven't got your questions in yet, please do so. So with those plugs said, glad we got that out of the way. Let us get to high spots and low shots. And I'm going to say that my low shot is Heavy Machinery because they lost to War Raiders. And now, in a bit cheatier fashion, they've lost to TM61. That's 2 losses straight. They're sliding further down the totem pole of the tag team division. Not a good time for Heavy Machinery. Maybe they need to stop thinking about stakes and wakes and start thinking about winning matches. So, Ashton, who's your low shot?
You know what? I'm going to keep it simple. My low shot's Ricochet because he got turned on and he lost due to being turned on.
Yeah, there you go. My high spot, Tommaso Ciampa, because
did you see his tweet?
Which one?
The one that he just put out just like a few minutes ago.
No, I didn't. No, I have to wait. Don't even tell me what it was. I want to live react to it. Okay, damn, I was right there. God damn it. Okay, Blackheart. Yeah. I hope he never blocks me on Twitter. I live for these. Facts. Johnny, against his wife's will, challenged me to a fight. I, being a man of integrity, stood up for myself. Johnny physically attacked me. I defended myself. The lesson, don't F with Ciampa, and if you do, then leave the chick at home. You know what? Just for that, he absolutely is my high spot. 1, defended himself. 2, punk Johnny Gargano out psychologically, which will give Candice more reason to leave Gargano and go with James where she belongs because that's a real man. And 3rd, I mean, I just love how Ciampa hates. I hope one day to hate as much as Tommaso Ciampa hates. That's the goal. I am no longer a scumbag. I am just a man. Tommaso Ciampa is a god of malevolence. So, yes, Tommaso Ciampa unequivocally is the high spot here. And Gargano, you're just pathetic. So, who's your high spot, Ashton?
You know what? My high spot's going to be Lars Sullivan because he won a match that he was at a clear disadvantage in 2-on-1.
All right, that makes sense to me. So, with that said, that's our NXT review, and I'm going to leave you, Ashton, to take us home since I already did the outro.
But what?
You gave your high spot. I gave my high spot. That's it, right? There's nothing.
But this is TWitWoW. You do the outro.
Oh yeah, that's right. I do. I'm so used to taking you taking us home lately. I apologize. All right, guys. Well, this has been NXT. This has been TWitWoW, the best wrestling podcast made for wrestling fans by wrestling fans on the web today. I'm John. That's my core and commentary, Ashton. Guys, be sure to comment, like, and subscribe if you haven't, because welcome to your new favorite wrestling podcast. And because I already plugged all the stuff in the outro, I will say we will see you Saturday for Best of Super Juniors Day 5 and 6. That'll be at 4 p.m. EST. And until then, tune in and peace out.